Today's video is going to be about throwing a larger bowl, possibly going to turn this into a sink. We'll see how it turns out. What I'm going to do is start with a 5-pound piece of clay, and I don't know if you can see it, I have another 5-pound piece here that I'm going to add on top to make a 10-pound large bowl. So we'll see how it goes. So I have, I've wedged this, I've rocked it, I have it a little bit curved this way, so I'm going to attach it to my bat, straight up, straight down, give it a little pat, and be ready to go. Spinning faster for centering, a little bit of water. Before I cone up, I want to make sure my high point is here. Relax and let go. Bring it up one more time. Really using the sides of my hands for the pressure going up. Bringing it down, pushing down and forward towards my left hand. Supporting it and feeling it as I come down. Pause if it gets a little wonky. Can relax and let go. Get a little more water. Bring it all the way down. Relax and let go nice and slowly. It's pretty much centered. Before I add the other piece, I'm going to bring it down into a wider, flatter piece. And being careful not to let this part mushroom. So bringing it down and in at the same time. Larger pieces of clay require that you move your hands around a little bit more. You're still doing the same things, but unless you have really big hands, you need to move your hands around so that the pressure's getting on all the parts of the clay. Now to add my second piece, this is a little bit higher. What I don't want to do is trap air. So I've smoothed out the bottom of that one just by rocking it, same as when I'm starting to throw. And this is a little bit higher, so when I smack it down, and I'm going to stop it to do this, so when I attach it, it'll hit here first and hopefully spread out and stick on here without creating any air bubbles. Okay, so I have my second piece, and I'm not going to throw it quite as hard as the first one when I'm attaching it to the bat, but I am going to drop it, and it'll move around a little bit because the bottom one is slippery, and I can spin it a little slow and kind of pushing down and in, getting it centered. Careful not to trap any air under here. So now I'm going to continue centering. Get my towel back. And carefully working here with the side of my hand. I'm kind of underneath here, because I want to feel that I'm not trapping any air. So my finger's underneath there as I'm just smoothing this edge here and trying to make it integrate there without trapping air. So I'm actually pushing this part up so there's no trapped air underneath. And that sealed pretty well. Probably could have left this a little bit bigger. I'm just going to take this with my sponge and just work this down and try to really seal that part there. And then maybe bring this back in. I want it to forget that it was ever 2 pieces of clay. And now I'll just come back. My bottom is nice and centered, that is my first piece of clay, but I need to center this top piece. And now I'm going to cone up using the whole thing. Get a nice clean edge on the bottom there. And then fingers at 3 o'clock, at 9 o'clock. Not fingers, but sides of my hands. And going up. Careful not to create a volcano on top. Make that center part the highest point again. And maybe bring it up a little bit more. And if you get too much of that wobble, you can slow your wheel down, but I think I could live with that. And then bringing it down. Of course, you can just center 10 pounds of clay, but that's a little challenging. And this is, you spend a little more time centering this way. It's a little easier on the wrists. And then it works for larger pieces. You could add another 5, and then you have a 15-pound pot. And I still am a little off center at the bottom, but see if I can't fix that as I continue centering. Oops. This is going to be fairly wide and shallow. I'm aiming for 14 by 7 to then shrink down to be about 12 and a half by 6. And hopefully I started with enough clay. And I'm aiming to make a sink. That's about 9 and a half. So that's going to be my base. And this is going to be flat bottom, so I don't need to leave, I need to leave a substantial amount, but not as thick as if I was going to trim a deep foot on it. Well, now I'm going to slow my wheel down a little bit. As well. Get this bottom really nice and compressed. I like this bottom sponge better. Now to start raising it,